Hey guys, my name is Jess Izat. Welcome to the first ever Record Club, brought to you by Record Store Day, the official charts, and National Album Day. Now, I know we're all isolating at home at the moment, so I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to come together as record collectors and music lovers alike to celebrate the joy of music during this very difficult time, and of course, to discover something brand new to accompany you during all of this time that we now have indoors. So, this is all about you and us as a community. We're inviting you to join us as a part of the Record Club. Every other Wednesday, we're going to come together right here as the Record Club. We're going to announce in advance the album that we'll be getting stuck into during the Record Club broadcast. And all you need to do is make sure to get yourself a copy of that album beforehand. You can do this by ordering from your local record shop. The doors of record shops might be physically closed, but of course, loads of them have online stores and they are ready to deliver much needed vinyl and CDs straight to your door. Once you've got the record, is to listen to it. And we are talking old school, no phones, no laptops, no telly, no distractions, social media, put it away, listen to the record. We want you fully immersed in the music. And then once you've done that, we want to hear from you. So if you've got questions that you'd like to put to the artist, be it about a certain track, lyric, the recording process, the artwork, you can simply post them in the comments section below during the live stream, and I'll be putting as many of them as I can to the artist. And also, if you just loved a certain track, we want to hear from you as well. This is an opportunity to share all of your positive thoughts about the record. And on top of that, one lucky person who sends in a question today will also be randomly selected to win a £100 loaded record token to be spent in independent record shops, so you can fill up on albums to your heart's content. That will soundtrack the rest of your lockdown, basically. We're going to announce the winner of that prize at the very end of the broadcast, so make sure to let's get straight into the Record Club then, shall we? This week we start things right with the brilliant Rina Sawayama.
Yay! Hi everyone.
Hi Pelos.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm just kind of in the chair that I'm sitting in for about 9 hours a day. If I'm not here, then I'm playing Final Fantasy. So it's kind of good that I'm here instead. But yeah, happy to be here joining you.
You know what? I'm actually, Final Fantasy is something that I put off because I know how addicted to like video games and stuff I get. So I'm just like, I'm going to stay productive with the music and things. Now, for anyone who might be joining, and perhaps they don't know, maybe they've joined from charts or Records Store Day or whatever. Rina in Japan. She's raised in North London and she's also a Cambridge graduate. She I know, when I read this, I was like, this is incredible. So many different things feeding in. And you've just been making this incredible like left pop. I mean, it's been pitched as pop, but I think that it is almost like a time capsule. You supported artists like Years and Years, Charlie XCX on tour. I can also feel like I see that feeding into it. It's almost like all your like coming together with this record. And this amazing debut, Sawayama, has come out to critical acclaim just a few weeks ago. You're our first ever guest. We are launching the record with Sawayama. There we go.
Yay! There she is. I got mine in the post. So excited. I bought it online. Like I was like, I'm gonna buy my own record. So, there we go.
Oh, honestly, when it came in the post, like every single time, especially during this time, the doorbell rings, and you know, postman. So you just run to the door. And I think I mentioned before, I have so many, so we all run them, and we're like, yeah. And as soon as I saw the shape, I was like, thank you. That is wow.
I know. I'm so proud of that artwork. Concord. Yeah, it's meant to kind of, I don't know, the whole record is kind of about my identity, and well, we'll get into that. But like this, I wanted it to be like sci-fi, like Japanese sci-fi, but in a way that you've never seen before, because I think that trope has been done, and so I was like, I want to do another take on it, a more fashion take on it, and here, there it is.
And I've seen in places that you're described as a model, singer-songwriter, Cambridge graduate, put everywhere as well. So when stuff like this, like you said, you wanted it to be more sort of fashion, did that just kind of come naturally to you? Is that something that's happened with this?
Yeah, so I guess I should like talk about where I started, because that kind of involves fashion. Yeah, hold it up. I graduated uni and then had no money, like most students, and then working. And then one of the jobs that I eventually started doing was modeling. I got signed to a streetcar, and yeah, started modeling and like little campaigns, and that was how I was able to save up and basically be an independent artist until very recently. And so yeah, I mean, just passion has been there. I definitely think it was Bad Romance, Lady Gaga, when that came out when I was like 17 or something, that it like changed my life. So it's like crazy that I ended up working with Nicola Formichetti like recently. But yeah, I think it's just my love of fashion and modeling and how modeling fits in to fashion, I guess. I've always like loved working with people who are in the fashion industry.
That's a hard graft as well. So I feel like you've crafted out a path.
It's horrible.
Kind of come together. Wow. And then stepping into music, did that come quite easily after that?
Yeah, so I've always been doing music, but it was really hard to make like a living off music. So modeling really like did two things where like I was able to save up, but also like it gave me, brands would like tag me and then I'd get followers and then like some of them would go listen to my music. But it really wasn't until like the Rina EP in 2017 when people actually kind of saw me as more of a musician, I think. Until you release a body of work, I think people are a bit like, so what's your deal? I think it was all very important in the making of, I reckon.
I remember when I first saw you, I think it was a Amp Sounds
cool.
event, and it was in the Moth Club. And I just remember seeing there were clearly, because of the nature of those kind of events, it's brought different types of fans together. And you could definitely spot a mile off the people that were there to see you. There were some very hardcore fans. I didn't know I was getting into then, but afterwards I was just like, I need to know more about this artist. And I played a couple of your tracks on radio before. But obviously today we're talking about the new album, and it's actually sold out everywhere. You can still grab a CD if that's
the limited edition one is like, it's all the record store limited edition ones are gone. So what are we here for? No, there's we're restocking on the gold editions soon, I think.
Okay, so nudge your record stores. I'm sure they'll get them back in stock very, very soon. What's the initial reaction?
It's been wild. It's literally like I was saying about sitting here, it's just like getting like a blast of like positivity from my screen, which is I just feel so in creating this album. I really poured my heart out into it and felt like I was at completion, that I was like, right, if people hate it, then it's okay. Like I've at least tried my best. And so I had to sit on it for like 4 months, as like most artists have to do. When it came out, I think the positive reaction to the singles, especially the reaction to STFU, was something that reassured me in terms of how it was going to. I didn't expect it would be this much. I think the things that really was crazy to me was like the YouTube reactions. Like there's so many reaction videos to the album, and one of my favorite YouTube kind of reaction. So there's people like who review albums basically, and there's this person called AJ, AJLL, he reviewed it, and I was just like, oh my god, you reviewing stuff. I like listened to Casey Musgraves because you reviewed it, and see.
I told you before that so when I listen to an album, I kind of like to make my own judgment on it, and that I wrote, so Dynasty, I just put like epic opener, pitched as a pop artist, but almost not of this time. It kind of reminds me of like some of the crescendos in Evanescence. You've got all the like sort of what is it? It's the breakdown in it that's like bring me back to life, hanging out the window.
Yes,
This is getting played on mainstream. This is on all of you go and get your nails done in a nail bar, and all the MTV like top hits or whatever are playing, and that is the tracks that are playing, and I was just, it's throwing me right back to just my heyday of like, you know, when you're just loving music for the sake of loving music, that's all you've got to do.
Yeah.
You've got your Walkman or your whatever it was that you were listening to back in the day.
Yeah. I feel like Evanescence, like for me anyway, like came out at a time where it was like it mattered whether the music you listened to was cool or not, because like you kind of hit a certain age, like when you're at school, and kind of the music you listen to matters you, and then you start like kind of becoming a bit more niche. But I was always a mainstream girl. I'm still a mainstream girl. I love listening to, you know, like more mainstream artists. I don't know. I love alternative music as well, but I feel like a lot of my influences have come from things that were super mainstream then, which is like Tattoo and like Evanescence.
Oh my goodness, Tattoo.
Like,
I was
things
talking
that
about
were like
that
so problematic if you think about it, but I'm just like, it was like the 2000s. We can like, you know, we can't fix things now, but yeah, I'm very inspired by like that time. I mean, Limp Bizkit, I remember, was like #1 for ages, and then Bring Me to Life #1, you know, for ages by Evanescence. And then yeah, it was such a weird moment in pop, wasn't it, where the charts was just like, what is going on?
It's kind of pop goth. You've got like your Green Days and Sum 41 and
Yeah.
Good Charlotte. Oh my
Yes.
goodness, so much of this like reminds me of that heyday. But like you said, obviously sometimes if you look a bit too deep, it's a bit problematic. But now it feels like you've ironed all those kinks out. Dimension of obviously influenced by your family quite clearly, and a lot of them, your friends, your surroundings. It's not got loads of it. Even what is it, Love Me for Me, on the surface of it, it might seem like, I don't know, you're talking about a loved one, but right at the beginning, the RuPaul quote, clocked it. Oh my goodness, I was just like, this is my favorite song.
Oh, thank you.
Off the back.
Yeah.
Have you had any sort of surprise favorites of the record? Some fan favorites?
Oh, definitely Love Me for Me. I kind of almost about to cut that from the record because I know. But then like basically like my dancer Alicia, and like okay, basically like so many people from my team were just like, you need to have that song in, and I was just like, oh, I don't know, because so many the record is so pointed, like the lyrics are so specific. I think I was kind of obsessing too much about that side, but then people were just like, oh, it should, you know, and then I kind of like included it back in, and I was like, okay, it does work, but then it took a bit of convincing, and then once it came out, and then it was like, I was just like, okay, fine, like justice
okay,
not for me. Yeah.
I think it's not so much, so every time I listen, I've got a new favorite, and that to me is something that says that a record is really standout, and what I really can listen back to a record and hear like something else. So again, like you said, you listen to it on the, you don't know all the words, so you're just listening, you're like, oh, it's like a love song, and then when you delve a bit deeper, I think XS does that too. And after I watched the music video, I was like,
no,
this
so
is
jokes.
blows my mind, because you've got something that's potentially quite serious, or a theme that's, then you've got such a jokes music video to go with it.
Thank you. Yeah, I think like I love kind of, I don't know if it's like subversion is the right word, but it's kind of, I love adding a bit of British humor to something that is very serious. Like humor's been a very important kind of, like even just talking about some of the themes that are discussed in the album, like some healing from that humor has, and I think that's kind of, I mean, it definitely with the XS video, because it talks a lot about like capitalism, and not just capitalism, but it's just like this new mass consumerism that's like makeup or water or, you know, whatever, and just how ridiculous it is, but how it is kind of like what I wanted to get across, and how it's kind of so much part of our being that we're almost like a bit like made like a robot because of it. But yeah, like I mean, I kind of did that with the STFU video as well, where it's like all the things that have been said to me as a Japanese woman is kind of really insensitive, like stupid stuff, but I wanted it to be funny. Like I wanted, like, I think sometimes things can get through to people's brains a bit quicker if it's funny. Like if it's aggressive, then some people might have a reaction to it, but I love like luring people in with a bit of like pop sugar and then just being like blam meaning.
Sometimes that's my favorite though, especially it's kind of similar when you've got like a happy sounding song that's actually got quite a sort of dark undertone. And I think it's things that me realise. So then obviously I did see a couple of reviews, especially about the songs that are already out. And so many people are saying, oh, she's such a smart pop artist. And I was like, oh, I wonder if they do it a bit, and just decided to like shove that in there. But not what they mean when they're talking about it, because you've got so many different layers and themes to this. Can you tell us about sort of the album in general and how and why the ideas sort of all came together?
Yeah, so I guess for viewers who are not familiar with my work, this record is like my debut, so I really wanted to make a debut that I will be proud of, and it discusses a lot about identity, and previously I discussed a lot to do with kind of online anxieties, and like I had a whole EP that was kind of about that. This one I really kind of delved into like my family history, and Dynasty, the track that we mentioned before, is all about kind of intergenerational pain and trauma, and so I got a pop song because I really feel like whether it's parents that you live with or your grandparents or whatever, I really believe in that there is intergenerational pain, and especially, I don't know, I kind of wanted to put it in the context of Dynasty because it's like inheritance, and that comes with like all that inheritance, like the financial side, I guess, and also then the pain. But the record is meant to be listened to from top, and like I don't know, like I love releasing music videos, but I really, really enjoyed making this album in terms of crafting it from sort of the first track to the 13th and just making sure that it connects and makes sense. I would say that it is definitely an alternative pop record, because we have like we said, Evanescence, like metal, we have like Justin Timberlake, Neptune's Britney pop, then we have New Jack Swing, which is Love Me For Me, we have a little bit of a country tinged ballad, and yeah, we have a song.
You've got dubstep in there. There is
someone said that song Snakeskin is dubstep James Bond.
Dubstep with question mark, exclamation mark, like as if you're gonna chat. That's amazing.
Yeah, I like kind of turning these really uncool things that happen, because like in hindsight, like dubstep was not cool. Sorry, I don't think it was like the coolest thing. Neither was like new metal. It was not like the coolest thing ever. So I love like turning that in, and also like stuff that like tropes that people would call cheesy, like Britney stuff, and even like thinking about Girls Aloud and people like just thinking about that era and thinking how it's like seen as a guilty pleasure, but kind of like just relating it a bit.
But those are the songs that we all remember and know and love, and we have in our back catalogue. And I continue to repeatedly play as like my kids and stuff like that. They're just so much fun to sing. And I think sometimes artists lose sight of that a little bit these days. Not to say like anyone can make any type of music that they want, but I think this is why this one bangs so much. I've got a note next to Paradising which says reminds me of the Powerpuff Girls.
I love
that. It reminds me of the theme tune, which I know.
My god, you need to sing it now.
No, I'm not singing
right now.
Crime, trying to say
yes.
Okay, but I was always Buttercup, so that was my part. But it's a sort of like tinkly, like twinkly sort of feeling that you get, that uplifting feeling, and it's got these hard sounds in it as well, which is just all a bit of me, really. But I feel like everyone else is feeling it too. What's the story behind that one?
Dyson is like basically me as a teenager and growing up in London, and like anyone who's grown up in a city knows that like you grow up a little bit too fast in cities. And like I think I was like 13 when I was going to Trafalgar Square and like drinking and went on Fridays with my friends who were also underage. Don't drink underage. I'm not advocating it, but I kind of wanted to write about how me and my mum's really single mum like completely like was messed up by it. And I kind of, it was definitely like the very 80s, but also game sounds. But thought about Ferris Bueller's Day Off when I wrote it, and that kind of like cat and mouse chase about like how can we get away from our parents, and like we're having the time of our lives and all these like mistakes and stupid when you're younger. But yeah, it's like a kind of like a chase, I guess. And like there's a phrase in his which like my mum says it's actually me, but like the voice lowered, which sounds exactly like my mum. But yeah, so it's like her calling me and hacking into my MSN Messenger and like, you know, just calling my friends and finding out their numbers and texting like people who I'm hanging out with, which is like the worst thing that can happen when you're a teenager. Yeah. And so yeah, my mum just being like typical like super mom and just, you know, being protective. But yeah, we laugh about it. When she heard that song, she thought it was really funny, so that's good.
So many throwbacks. I mean, like MSN Messenger. It's weird because the other day I was literally just talking about me still have MSN email.
No.
Yeah, still intact. That is my email address.
No, you have to keep it. You cannot delete. That's like an artifact.
And I just remember when my dad made my account for me, and I was fuming that he had made one with my name on it. God forbid.
Oh, that's not
and
cool. No,
it wasn't.
It should have been Buttercup or like, you know, like like Powerpuff Girls. Like
it was
at Gmail. No, at
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, thankfully, thanks to you, Dad, I have one that is still intact, vintage. It is real. It is there. It works.
Still usable.
So when you were making this record, I'm wondering, because all of a sudden, now, like, how long has this record been in the making, for one? But also things like fashion, like the chunky trainers, sort of this goth punk but pop sound is all coming back, and it feels like you've dropped it at like the perfect time. Because even I'm even styling my hair the way I did like way back when, like Gone is like the
flat 90s.
Yeah, flat 90s looking, got our Tammy girl flares and stuff like that. How long is it making?
So it's been in the making for about 2 years, maybe slightly more. I think Dynasty was like the first song that I wrote for it, but at the time I wasn't like, okay, cool, I'm gonna write an album. It just kind of like I started writing songs and realized that they all had a theme, so then I kind of like started putting them together. But I guess like, yeah, it's been 2.5 years ish. But yeah, in terms of I feel like it's so interesting because like in a way I feel like Kardashians have brought back the 90s, but in like this completely crazy different way, because like they've got the middle parting, they've got the black hair, they wear the tank tops, they wear the flared pants, and it really reminds me of like Tammy. R.I.P. Tammy. Where did Tammy go? I was obsessed with Tammy. Where did Tammy go? I know, it was like so not age appropriate, I realized, back in the day. Do you ever get like
some of the t-shirts that I had?
Some of the t-shirts.
I was like, yeah. Like, why'd you let me do that?
I know. I had a pair of jeans that like had like a belt sewn in, and the belt was this thick, and then from the knee downwards it had a slit in the middle, so it just kind of like fanned out to be like a super flare. I don't know, my mind was not very powerful, I don't think.
Hey, I mean, we're all kind of thrown back to those times now, but we're just like learning from them and then developing them. Yeah. Wow. Okay. And so so then the album, like a good time, I guess, like the same time as this is all fitting in. Was that crossing your mind when you were making it?
Oh, you're in terms of like right now? Yeah,
I feel like it's all big now. So I feel like when you made the album, obviously that was 2 years ago. I guess like grime was quite big then.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I try and make songs that like song is always good pop writing that is timeless. And I think we were talking about those like tracks from, before. They're like, they've stayed in our consciousness because of amazing songwriting, and like I think people kind of love to like talk down about on them or talk bad about them, but at the end of the day, if it's good songwriting in the middle, then it will stand the test of time. And I think it's easy when you're trying out different genres or different sounds that like your sound becomes super, I don't know. It's sometimes when music is too experimental, for me, like the meaning gets quite lost, or like the core of it gets quite lost, and it just sounds like a bit self-serving. And I really just wanted like the meaning and the melody and the lyrics to always be in the heart of it. Yeah, because I think sometimes it can just seem a bit like surface level if it's kind of all style. But yeah, that was a really important thing, and kind of like I really credit like my collaborators who really helped me write this record. And for my previous EP, I didn't have anyone. Me and the producer writing in, I'd always do like the melody and the lyrics, and then like Clarity, like he'd do the production. So I never had any like songwriters like there to kind of help me with the lyrics and melody. So yeah, I think I really do like credit them for bringing that out of me. I think
it does feel like that you had from previous projects like Rina and even the singles in between, but it does feel like a full step up to this project and to your debut, and like what perfect timing. So we've got one more question before we go to fan questions. So if you're watching and you've got any questions for Rina, you also have a chance to win £100 worth of record store tokens if you get involved with a question.
Sawayama albums. That is 5 Sawayama albums, guys. That is like
maybe you could just buy five.
You can just get 5 of my albums and all sorted for you.
Oh yeah. So get involved now, get the questions to us, and I'll put as many as I can to Rina. So you mentioned your collaborators. I know you're signed to Dirty Hit, which are just an iconic label, especially in this time. They're absolutely smashing it with all their artists, like 1975, of course, BB, Oscar Lang, just so many more. They're known for letting artists take the creative lead. So like how has that helped you achieve your vision for this record?
Oh my god, everything really. I think when I brought the record, when I first met up with Jamie and Chris, I think for me the record was like 80% done. Like there was no more new songs to be written at that stage. I think there was actually one, Chosen Family was like the last song to be written, but I took them the whole album. And I think at the time, like nothing was made. Thing was like there was some demos and stuff, but the kind of core of it was there, and they just got it, and like they didn't want to change anything. They just wanted to make it better, which then introduced me to like 1975's kind of team, and like just the Gilmore, who I got to work with, who's like amazing, and he like helped me finish. We recorded like live drums together, which was like something I'd never done before, so that was really cool. And just let's make it better. And there's at no point they told me to sound like streaming will love this, like that's never been a conversation, which as an artist and someone who's been doing it independently for a couple of years, I think such a sigh of relief. And yeah, I mean, I love 1975. I came quite late in 1975. I think they're great, and I've actually done them. That's gonna like be premiered tomorrow, so it's Love It If We Made It, which is like my favorite song. But I did a cover. I love it. It's so good. It's like the song that I'm like, I wish I'd written that song. But when I was covering it, I was like, I can't do it justice. Hey,
you just do your own version. That's what a cover is, isn't it?
Exactly. You just do your best.
I'm sure it sounds amazing. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, thank you. I know we like properly produced it and like did a little video and everything. So.
Oh, I'm so pleased for you being on that label. I think I've heard maybe you talk about it before, and previously you've been with other people, and I feel like Dirty Hit is such a great home for you and records. So yeah,
I'm so happy.
So we have some fan questions. Ole Raska, I hope I'm saying that correctly, on Rina says, Rina, what sound would you like to explore in the future?
Ooh, garage, I think, but definitely more dance music. Yeah, I might be exploring that this year.
There are some tinges I found on like Tokyo Love Hotel that kind of reminds me you know how like Robin does sort of sad pop, she does ones that you could listen to getting ready or on the dance floor, but then you could also listen on the way home and be like,
also be crying.
Like, yeah.
Thank you. No, she's like a big inspiration. I mean, I think about 80s and dance music, and I always think Robin, even though she's not 80s, but you know what I mean, like how she's like processed that sound and like made it her own, and like to be able to write a song like Dancing on My Own is like, I don't know, like, because it's kind of quite hard to, I find it quite hard to write on like tracks. I've been like sent some beats and stuff, but I don't know why, I just find it like quite hard to write. So like props to anyone who does make an amazing house record. But yeah, that's something I want to do next, I think.
I'm here for it. Anthony Corkvu on Official Charts says, a song for you to create from the album and why?
I think Dynasty, the first song, like we completely maxed out the Ableton session. Pro Tools we're getting to like I think we had like 250 tracks in the session at that time. And we just had, I know it's like insane, like we just, like Clarence's computer was like actually melting, like, but
it was taking off.
Oh yeah, the computer did. I don't know if the track did at that time. It sounded kind of weird at one point because we decided to like re-record all the drums, and then it's a process of completely like combing through it and being like, does this sound serve any purpose? Does this sound do anything? Like, you know, because there's just now these drums that are like there and present, and the guitar as well, which Anne from 1975 actually recorded those guitars. So shout out, woo! But amazing. Yeah. I know, so cool. Again, would not have happened without Dirty Hit. Thank you very much. So yeah, I think it's like honestly like took that whole 2.5 years to like been written, but the producing and the finishing and the mixing, oh my god, took so long.
Wow, it's funny because you don't even think about that. You listen to, wow, so many layers, but you don't always think about just physically how hard, like that song being so long in the making, it must, and it's the first one as well on the album.
That's it. Yeah, you put a lot of pressure on, and actually after I submit, had like such an existential crisis because I thought this kind of the rabbit hole that you go down, because I thought that the first section was like too loud, and I melted over it. I like thought the whole album was awful because of it. I like sent it to everyone and I was like, do you think the vocals are, I like went completely crazy. And this is after we've like submitted it, it's gone to vinyl, and then that's when like people were just like, okay, you need to calm down, like it sounds great. And then yeah, it literally, I showed it to Mike and he was literally like, it sounds great. And I was like, okay, good, my piece. I've like, that's fine. As long as you think it sounds good, it's fine. I just did Gaga, so it's fine.
Miles High on National Album Day says, are you going to wear the outfit from the artwork on tour?
Oh my god, no, I can't, because then like bits would pop out.
I think, yeah.
There's some bits that would really fall out. It would fall like inwards, outwards. Things would rip. It would get very like not PG-13.
My natural blurring is
yeah,
getting
literally.
Quite confused with the angles and the situation. God, what a question.
I feel so self-conscious. Like when I'm on stage, I just want it to be like cinched in. Like I can't move anything. That's why Beyonce wears like 7 tights. Yeah, she literally wears like 7 pairs of tights on top of each other, Beyonce. So I get why, because it feels like you want to be secure because there's so much open space around. You just want to be like, but I've already actually got my tour looks and I had them all sorted, but we will be wearing them.
Okay, yeah. So obviously you were meant to be on tour at the moment as well. Wow.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it?
Different.
Yeah. No, it's literally, you know, if I had to go on tour right now, like my tour manager just might as well just throw a sack of potatoes on stage, because that is literally my body right now. Like I cannot, I can barely like like go up my stairs without like, it's so unfit.
There's not been a day in this house where there hasn't been banana bread just left. Like, and by left, I mean, as in, like, there's a new batch every day, and I'm just having it every day. It's just not the one. I mean, we've had so many different types. I don't know what banana bread's meant to taste like anymore.
Just, if you're going to indulge, do it now. Just, I think it's really acting like they don't really care about what other people think about them, which is maybe like the people want to be in, like, just, like,
just you be you. Gloria Jackson on the official charts says, were the earrings on the cover heavy?
I don't remember. Wait.
I'm trying to decipher by the state of your lobe.
You know what? I wasn't even thinking about my earlobes at that point. That headpiece, it was so wide. It was like this wide. It was like antlers. So I like couldn't walk into, like, I would just kept walking into like door frames and like bashing things. Yeah, it was quite heavy, like maybe like 4 wefts or something. So it was like pretty heavy. I don't know how Yusuke like got it to.
This is the thing. This is the art of a model where we can't tell how heavy anything is. Light as a feather.
Exactly, and how revealing that outfit is. Like, I was like, I don't know. I think a lot of what modeling is, and I always look at Bella Hadid, and I'm like, you are killing it, girl, because she just like a professional, just incredible, can hold the shapes. Some of those shapes she holds, and the stuff that models make look easy is not easy. Like, yeah, even that position where I'm like kind of leaning, that was hard.
Every muscle tensed.
Every muscle, mouth. Like, then you got to like make sure your eyes and like you don't look tensed.
Don't look in pain.
Don't look in pain. Yeah, look happy. Like,
light as a feather. So we've got JP Austria from the official charts page says, what are things that you've wanted to write songs about since you finished writing the album?
I find songs about how people move change is really interesting. So, which is very like relevant to current state. Like, I kind of look at what's going on in the world going to change after this. How, like, on an individual level, are people going to change? And that's pretty interesting. I can't wait for like books and stuff to come out of this, and just novels and people's, what people are going through. But no, I think I haven't really thought. I kind of blocked like the idea of the next album out until the album came out, and then like people were like, okay, so what are you gonna? And I'm just like, but I don't know. I really don't know. I think because so much of this, I feel like I need to live like another lifetime to write something as intense. But I'm starting to read like other people's memoirs and like listen to other people's stories to get a little bit more inspiration. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, lyrically, that is a good question though.
Yeah, because you've encapsulated so much. I just from friends, it's like relationships, that romantic relationships as such, which I think is actually quite an art in this day and age. There are so many love songs out there, and not to put them down at all, they're great. But things like Bad Friend, just so relatable. I find that sometimes there are friends, like I've got to this stage in my life where I pride myself in keeping the relationships that I'm close to, but the second you kind of move away from an area physically, like, why am I being I don't know, why am I losing touch? Really nice to hear that, and then hear that it ended well as well.
It did kind of, although like she's kind of moved to Sweden now, so it's a bit sad. But I find that like sometimes the biggest heartbreaks in your life, and for me the biggest heartbreaks in my life, like, don't get me wrong, I've had romantic relationships, like long term and short term, whatever, but some of like my biggest heartbreaks are family or it's friends, and I think that's not talked about enough. Like, there's songs that, even Spice Girls, who I love, get me wrong, don't like kill me, but like, it's like, if you want to be my lover, then you go with my friends. It's always like in the context of like someone else or a man, perhaps, and it's just like, let's talk about friendships. Everyone has been a bad friend at some point in their life, and I love it when people cry to that song. I'm like sadistic. I'm like,
Cry, feel something.
I'm like, cry.
Jesus Enrique on Rina's page asks, which artist would you like to collab with in the future?
Ooh, okay. I love Brie Runway at the moment. I think she is so sick. So exciting for her. I would love for her to jump on a remix, or I'd love to write with her. But for now, like an excess remix Brie would be insane. Gaga, obviously. I'm like 1 degree away from her because I've like written with like my anyway. But yeah, I'd love so much.
Got to speak those things into existence.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna like shout them out the window to like no one.
Gaga, if you're listening.
Gaga. Her new album. I love Grimes so much. Like her music has been very inspiring to me, and like that kind of darkness and the way she like kind of is very like based on fantasy and like that sort of, I mean, I love that. Who else? Charlie, obviously. I'd love to write with. Who else? Diamonds, I'm loving Doja Cat so much.
She's absolutely smashing it, and I'm here for it as well.
I am here for it. I think she is incredible, and I know like I can only imagine how hard she's worked, because I remember seeing her pop up on SoundCloud like 4 or 5 years ago, and then it's like taken this long to like for her to like push through. But yeah, that I think she's really fun.
Grimes, I feel like I'm quite late to the game. I heard Delete Forever probably when that came out, and then I was like, oh, I love this person. And then I don't know, in terms of work and stuff, I listened to a lot of music, and then I fell off it a bit. And then I think I heard you name check her on the radio somewhere else, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to delve back into this.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, I mean I love the Midtown pop scene, but I think Art Angels, I literally like traveled to Sweden to go see her and Hana, and then like now Hana's like one of my best friends. It's so weird, but like such a weird, like I literally, because I could not get tickets to see her in Brixton, got a ticket to Sweden, Stockholm, to go see Grimes.
And it was a trip.
Exactly, and it was like one of the best shows I've ever been to. And like I don't know, whenever I get like tipsy around Hana, that's like my favorite like old granddad tale to tell. I'm like, do you know why we're friends? It's just so like an Asian granddad. I'm like, let me tell you about why we are friends.
Oh my god, I love that so much.
Why? Yeah, I love telling that story to Hana. I'm sure she's so sick of it, but yeah.
She's like probably like, here we go again.
Yeah, she's like, oh my god, she's drunk again. Jeez.
So we've got time for a couple of general questions as well. I'm wondering what kind of albums you have been listening to recently. Obviously, we've had like a lot of time. Are there any other records that you could tip us?
Oh my god, I'm not the tastemaker you think, guys. Like I just like I don't know. I always think I have such mainstream taste. Honest love that Fiona Apple's album came out the same day as me, because it like gave me something to like not like listen to my album, because that's literally all I've been listening to for the last 4 months. I think her new record is incredible. Fetch the Volcas. Like that level of experimenting with sound is just something so cool. Hana, who I mentioned, is amazing. She actually wrote her entire album on Twitch, so she live streamed her entire album writing and mixing.
Wow.
She mixes and writes and produces all her own music, so it was crazy, and she did it all on Twitch, and you can still rewatch it. So Hana, look her up, she's amazing. I love this album. I came late to the Doer game. Like I really love Future Nostalgia. I think there's a song called Levitating, which I absolutely love. That's kind of who I've been listening to as well. I think
I saw a tweet, or someone tagged me in one of those like name however many album. I think it was like 3 albums that you'd finish without skipping any. Which would you pick? Which 3? Maybe some old school ones.
Oh, yeah, that's such a good question. Oh my God. Do you know what? Is probably the most chaotic record that she's ever done, but it's my favorite, and that is B-Day by Beyonce. Like, that was her first one really like understood what visual albums were. Like, she did a music video for every single song on B-Day, and there was like Kitty Cat, that song, Freakum Dress, Moonlight is one of my favorite songs by Beyonce. But we are like really taking it back to like 2005 or whatever. But I thought that whole thing was incredible. No skips, love. I'd say Stripped by Christina.
Yeah, that was one of mine as well.
I love it. There's no skips on that. Yeah, she goes into so many. She goes into so many different genres. Like, I definitely like Fighter is like a huge inspiration to Dynasty.
I named my snake at the time to that track.
No,
I was
you
so
didn't.
obsessed. Yeah,
oh my God, I was wondering where you were
snake
going to
called
go with
Fighter.
that. You have a snake? That's so
I don't
cool.
anymore. This was back when it came out, but
oh my gosh.
I had a Taiwanese beauty snake, and it was called Fighter after Christina Aguilera's song. So there we go.
That's amazing. That's like the coolest thing ever. I love. Another album. Oh my God, Avril Lavigne's Let Go.
That was my other one as well. So.
Is it actually? Oh my God, we're the same person. Literally no skips. Like I mean, Complicated, and then like I fully ascend when it gets done with you. Like Mobile, Everybody's Full. I
quoted. I was meant to see Avril at Brixton this year.
Brixton?
She was playing on April, I think it was the 2nd, and obviously because of the situation at hand, it didn't happen. So Avril, please come back.
I'd love to go see her. I'd never got to see any of these pop stars. I remember, I think it would be B-Day tour that I got tickets for, and then I couldn't go because it was on my GCSE. It was the day before my GCSE maths, and I was like, one more album that I'm loving and is no skip for me is Halsey. And I think, are we the same person? I feel like you're like, yes.
I'm obsessed with Halsey. I remember when she came out with Close she did Closer with the Chainsmokers, and some of my friends were like, oh, I don't like that. I was like, well, I don't care if I'm not cool. And when she played at Reading and Leeds, I was like, we are going to go see Halsey, and we're going to stay for the whole thing. She came out in a wig. I loved it. I was like, this is amazing. Saw her at Brixton in the Academy as well. Outing myself as a super fan here, but there we go.
Oh my God. No, I really think she is like one of the best songwriters like ever. I just think right now, I think she is one of the best pop writers. And I think the song, oh my God, there's a song called 3 a.m. on her record that really reminds me of like Avril Lavigne. And there's a song that she did with Alanis Morissette, which is great, which is an interlude. Like, that is such a flex to just have like Alanis on an interlude. Obsessed.
Can I just say, you are queen of interlude. Never have I ever wanted interludes to be full songs so wholeheartedly.
No, I don't know why I called it an interlude. I was like, oh yeah, 13 songs sounds kind of long. Let me just like, it's 12 songs in an interlude. It sounds good, but it's basically like a 3-minute song. I don't really know. But I think it is an interlude because it literally ties sections or 2 songs together, which is, I don't know, if you get technical about the word interlude, I guess that's kind of it.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'll go with that. Well, Rina, thank you so much for joining us for the first ever record club. That's it for today. We've loved having Rina join us. And if you haven't already got yourself a copy of Some Men, putting in an order with your local record shop, and the gold, is it the gold copy, the gold edition, hopefully be in stock very soon. Thank you all for joining. Be the same without you, and thank you so much for sending your questions. Now we have a winner for this week's £100 record token prize, and it goes to Gloria Jackson. Woo.
Gloria,
I need like a sort of party popper or something that will go with that. Someone from the official charts page will reach out to you, so make sure to keep your eyes peeled for that, and you can get spending in your local record shops and fill your boots on albums till your heart's content, till you're full and your ears are bursting. Maybe you can just buy how many Rina albums?
5.
Albums 5. If you could just buy 5 of those.
You can buy 4 and then 1 different. You can have that option too.
So we'll drop you a message to claim your prize, and you can join us once again in 2 weeks' time, where I'm very excited to reveal that we're going to be joined by Sleaford Moss and Williamson to discuss the new record, All That Glue, 2 weeks' time. Remember that. So if you want to be a part of the club, pre-order yourself a copy of that album now. Online from your local. It's out on the 15th of May, and we will see you same time, same place in 2 weeks' time. My name is Jessica Izzat. This is the Record Club. Thank you so much for joining us, and I'll see you next time.